good morning, Facebook world. So my name is Brock Zevan, life coach, business coach, real estate coach, and dad. And just happy to be here. Happy Thursday, Stump the Chump Day. Had some great conversations already. One of my mentees that I work with, we had a good role play this morning. He's going to come on here hopefully shortly. We talked a little bit about expireds. We're going to touch base on that. And I forgot my book that I was going to read. So hold on a second. I got to go get it. Perseverance. We talked earlier the week about habits, and then we got into, hold on, let me move this over here. We, not only did we talk about habits, then we talked about what that looks like and how you just get it done. And then we talked about, and today is more about perseverance. I'm going to read to you the George Allen talks about this quote here. And I thought it was a really good one based off of what we talked about this week. And the quote is this: try not to do too many things at once. Talked about multitasking, remember? Know what you want, the number one thing today and tomorrow. Persevere and get it done. It continues to go on and say, this reminds us the power of focus and the intent of this quote. Stop for a moment and look at your to-do list today. How many goals and projects are you chasing? How many of us have it written down every single morning, the same thing? Oh, God, I still do this. I still didn't get this done. Okay. Now imagine you're at a carnival. Your goal at the carnival is to gather as much candy and as many prizes as you possibly can, winning all these little carnival games. What would your strategy be? I would likely look at the games, choose which one I was the best at, and start with those, and then work my way to the other games. What I wouldn't do is try to play all the games at one time, running around a carnival like a crazy person. However, in our lives, we often run around bouncing between all our different goals, all our different distractions, trying to get it all done. What we often overlook is the separating of our energy and focus from a task to another task, trying to become effective and efficient. We mustn't confuse busyness with effectiveness. We are effective when we choose our primary focus points and attend to them, and then move on to the next one. What items do you need to focus on today above all others? Write down 3 of them and commit to them. See, what I've come to realize, even in my own personal world, is sometimes I have what I come from is that attention deficit, like the ADD. All right. And what happens is I start a project, and then I go to another project, and then I go to another project, and then I'm all over the place. And why I have to write down, and literally over here on my little binder thing, we got my Wednesday, Thursday, for those looking, Wednesday, Thursday. I have it written down, so then that way I can keep track. And then over here, as we talked about before, is my Friday, Saturday. And I put this in here because I easily can follow. I can get all over the place. And then at the end of the day, I'm like, all right, what did I get done today? Well, I did 27 things, and not one of them I actually finished all the way 100%. And so when they talk about the carnival in here, it's the same concept that you can't play every game all at once. It's impossible. But yet we like to bounce around all the time in our real world for whatever reason. So today, I'm going to challenge you. Like literally, for those that are in front of a desk, those are like having a pen and paper in front of you. I don't know if you're driving, obviously you can't do this, but I want you to write down certain things that you really want to accomplish today. A lot of times I actually put my small little, like, let's just say drop off Bryce. Okay. Drop off Brielle at camp. Okay. Make 30-minute phone call. Like I will write down things in the beginning, especially if I'm in a rut. I will write down those easy things and I will put them on my top of my to-do list. Why is that? Is because I want to check them off. Because when you get a list and you get to check them off, just like when you're at the grocery store, remember back in the day, we used to actually write down our list. Maybe some of us still do it now. Then we cross it off. It's the same concept when I'm trying to get myself out of a rut that I want to do that. So then that way I can feel like, all right, go, man, I already got 4 things done. It's not even 9:30. Wow, I'm doing really good today. Now it might be brush my teeth. It might just be drop off Brielle, but my mind is starting to build small wins. And we talked about small wins. Okay. Christian says, write down everything because half the fun of is crossing off the list. And that's from Jim Rome. Thank you, Christian. And it's so true. It just makes you feel more accomplished throughout the day by just crossing things off your list. And guys, here's I'm going to give you a little secret. As Bryce likes to tell me, he likes to tell me, Daddy, I have a secret to tell you. I'm like, okay, what is it? So here's the secret. All right. There is no list police. Like there's nobody going to be, hey, you can't do that to your list. No, you can't have like, no, you could do whatever you want to your list. You can write down 5 things. You can write down 20 things. You can write down 2 things. You can cross off whatever you want to cross off. You can start, you can exit, check. Like there's no police. It's whatever makes you feel accomplished to help you persevere, as it says, to get it done. Because that's the most important thing, to get it done, whatever that might look like in your life. Brielle, what do you think about that? She gets very excited. She's very excited about this video. She's gonna actually get me sad when she has to go back to school, which is very soon. So I challenge you today. Write down a couple things. Okay. Pamela sends me her list every single morning. Hats off to Pamela. I tell you, she's probably one of the most consistent people of texting me every morning, and she writes down her list. We actually had, because she's a dual career, we had some open slots. And I said, man, those open slots, it just makes you look like you're not doing anything today, but I know you're doing a lot of stuff today. So what I want you to write in there is 5 I ams or 5 gratitudes. And that list now looks a lot full in her calendar, but every morning she does it. She's a perfect example of consistently good. I'd rather be consistently good than occasionally great. I love it. Like to me, that is such a habit, and it's helping her through her process and what she's going through. So I'm going to open up the line here. Facebook world's been very quiet. I don't even have a good morning in Facebook world in my live chat thing. So anybody on Facebook, good morning. But if anybody's got a question, anybody have something that they want me to go over. The other day I was like, boy, I haven't done a role play in a while on here. But does anybody have something that they would like to ask me? Good morning, Brooke. Yeah, there we go, Facebook. Appreciate you guys. Has anybody got something that they would like me to role play, a question, something like, what do you do when you're in a rut? Anything about this? Good morning, Greg. So does anybody have something that they would like to talk about? Good morning, Pat. See, there we go. Now I feel a little bit better.
Now, I've got a question if no one's jumping in.
What's up, Christian? Right back at you again, buddy. How are you doing?
Doing good, doing good. So I guess this kind of ties in with what you're talking about and something you mentioned a couple of weeks ago. And you just kind of mentioned with Pamela filling in those blank spots. So am I hearing you right that you like to kind of like time block and fill out a calendar, like an actual time, each slot every day? I remember last week you were talking about having trouble at certain periods of the day. So do you actually like fill out a physical time block for the day to fill up your day?
So yes. So in my calendar, it's in the other room, but I have 2 calendars. I have my Google Calendar because my Google Calendar has to remind me because it doesn't take much for me to get distracted. And so it's important for me to be able to have my notifications hit my phone. So, needless to say, when I handwrite it, my calendar is not going to send me any notifications. So, I have to have it in Google so I get notifications. But I also write it in my calendar, and I literally will put in there. Greg's seen it many times, and some of you who've been around me have seen it. That like literally, I'll pen in 15 minutes, 30 minutes. Like it will be blocked off literally from when I wake up. So at 4:45 in the morning, it will go all the way until I'm finished with my day. And it has drop off Brielle. Like it has every single piece of my day in there.
Okay.
Does two things for me. One, it reminds me what I have going on. Um, Two, it's helped me stay disciplined. But I also have empty spaces. So when I have empty spaces, it's very easy for me to see, okay, I have a timetable between 1 and 3 that I didn't realize that I had today. Because the Google Calendar doesn't really do it as much. I don't know. It's not as effective as it is for me writing it down. Now, when I share this with you guys, remember, there is no police. I can really do this 3 times if I want, but that's why I do it is it helps me remain consistent and it helps my time efficiency more importantly. And so it just so when I see a space or I see a gap, kind of like Scott and I were talking about last week, I said, well, you don't have a social media problem. You just have a problem writing it in your calendar, and then we can go from there. So a lot of times people don't realize the gaps that they have, and they're not looking at their efficiency like it talks about get it done. So when you see a empty space, and some of you might be like, I mean, here's the thing, and I'm not trying to be mean to anybody, but sometimes you might have more empty spaces than you even thought. You'd be like, oh my gosh, I really don't have anything from 1 to 6 today. Well, I got 5 hours. Well, maybe that's a slap in the face to be like, well, what can I be doing? What can I be effective? Can I be doing database? Can I be doing social media? Can I be doing door knocking? Could I be making my sphere calls? Can I do my birthday calls cards? Can I be doing something effective? Can I be finding open houses? I don't know. But when I see a gap, I'm like, all right, I got an hour. What can I do during that hour? What is going to make me effective to be able to do something? And then I break it down of like, okay, do I want to do an income servicing, which means in this case right now I have to do because Lori, my TC, is out of town. So like a lot of it is like paperwork. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to do that offer. I'm gonna have to write this up and do this. So it helps me block it off in reference to that. So hopefully that helps answer that question for you.
Yeah, one more kind of follow up real quick. Do you do that typically the morning, like the day of, or do you do it the night before, or on a weekly basis? What's kind of your take on that?
So, good question. I have not. I'm one like I will do it every morning for sure. I actually try to do it the night before. I haven't been as successful doing it because I'm tired by the time I get to it. And depending if I have my kids, I there's no consistency. And so I can't I'm very, very big that it is unless it becomes a habit, I don't really talk about it. Like, so I can't say to you, I do it in the night before because I'm not consistent enough. I can say that I do it in the morning because it's part of my routine. And so literally my routine is prayers, push-ups, walk 20 minutes, read 10 pages, calendar. That is my routine. And so that's when I do it. And I don't like to do it before my like literally this is all in my head and you guys probably think I'm crazy, but like if I start thinking about my day too soon, it takes away from my mindset, my prayers, my meditation. Like when I go on my 20-minute walk, I'm starting to think about everything else under the spine. All right, I got to do that.
Yeah.
I got that coach. I got to do this. And I can't have that. Like I need to be able just to think about like it's where I have my non-limiting beliefs. I start visioning about my future. I get to think about whatever I want. I'm coaching in front of 10,000 people. Like I can think about whatever. But if I start thinking about my day too soon, it gets a little like I focus
Yeah.
more on that and I don't like to do that. So that is why it becomes on the back end. But that's usually when I write it. And then I go to my Google Calendar and make sure that everything matches so my notifications are on point so I don't miss any appointments.
Okay. Cool. Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions on that or any follow-ups on my routine? I appreciate everybody in Facebook world. Have a phenomenal day. I want to thank you all for being on here. For those that watch the recording later on, thank you so much. If there's something you like, something you see, make a comment, put it in there. And we will go into Zoom world, talk a little bit about my day. In Facebook world, if you want to know more about the day and what we do as a team and everything else, by all means, come and join us on the Zoom. It is always in the Facebook. We put it in our Facebook chat. So Facebook world, have a phenomenal day. Thanks so much for being on here.